Then obviously there's the constant racial debate. If God forbid would have been all white dudes, would the band have been bigger? My answer to that question, yes. No.
Old School Magazine welcomes in our pal Corey Pierce of God Forbid, Disciples of Verity, and a bunch of other things. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just got done practicing actually, so I'm feeling. I always feel like you get your body's all kicking up and the blood's all up and shit, and then it's like you just feel you feel kind of good, a little energetic. My legs are a little sore, but
Understandable, man. Understandable. It's been a big year for you, man. Congratulations on all the success and the comeback of God Forbid. A lot of buzz in the metal community about having this band. I feel like a beloved, underrated band back in some way, shape, or form. We'll take it, whatever we can get, you know?
I mean, it's basically the same. I mean, I know Dallas isn't there, but certain things could not be helped. You know what I mean? And to be fair, having Nick is like amazing. He's an amazing dude. He's an amazing player. So it's just like it makes it a very easy transition. You know what I mean? It's like nothing you have to worry about. You're not worrying about like, am I going to be able to get along with this dude? No, that's a given. He's easy to get along with. Is he going to be able to play the shit? No, he's super good. So that takes all the concerns right out of the equation. You know what I mean?
And
So
in a pinch, he can do your music videos for you because he's super talented. Also,
yeah,
on top,
we were talking about that yesterday because I've been actually like I just want to get more information, learn more about video stuff and how to do like, little promo stuff and things like that because I don't know, it's just fun. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to really make a career of it or anything, but it's always good to have a little bit more knowledge, you know what I mean?
word, I agree. The music business, even when you're not in a full-time band, is a never-ending process. Whatever end of it you're on our end, we're always learning and trying new shit. When you're on your end, you're learning and trying new shit. Yeah, what a momentous year. We have a piece coming out next year, like the year-end, biggest stories of the year. And one of the themes is like the year of reunions, right? And I don't know if it was, I feel like having known you guys for a long time, followed you guys literally in the bar days before the first album. That's the first time I saw God Forbid was in New York City, and probably at least once in New Jersey at some place like Images or before Birch Hill, like whatever
Yeah.
small you know
We
place.
played plenty of shitholes, no doubt.
As did I. I'm sure there was like a Coney Island High or a CBGB's in there.
We did some CBGBs. Kevin Scondato was back in the day hooking us up in Queens at
Yeah,
those
Castle
little
Heights, bro.
Castle Heights. There was some other like rat hole bar.
Voodoo
There was like,
Lounge.
all those places are the same. It's like a little lane, and then it's like leads to a little rectangle where everybody is, and there's like no stage sometimes. It's just like you're on the floor with a bunch of motherfuckers up in your grill. But it was I remember like having playing one of those shows at Agents of Man in Queens, and we had all the extra drum gear was in a broom closet right behind where you played at. So everybody was like, we were helping each other set up and take our stuff down in this broom closet, and that was like the staging area.
Nice. Yeah. I'm gonna say one of those CBGB's shows was like God Forbid, District 9 from the Bronx, a band called Lockdown, and like maybe Go to Mentis or Irate. One of those like
I
Bronx,
mean,
New York City death metal, deathcore bands.
I know that we definitely did some shows with Irate. Doc is always good about remembering all these like super specific details. I was like, I remember certain moments, you know what I mean, or certain interactions or whatever. But he's like, that dude's like, I remember the years before I was even born. I remember details. I'm like, Jesus.
That tracks. He's sharp as a whip, that guy. I was gonna say that I feel like you guys left on,
Trying to say I'm stupid, man. Trying to say I'm stupid. I can't
no.
read good.
Yeah. Believe me, no English good here either, despite writing for a long time. I couldn't play music particularly well. I'm a halfway decent journalist. You know how it is. You just, those who can't do or teach or something, whatever that cliche is. But I was saying, like, I feel like, obviously, we're not going to talk about this stuff with the brothers, but, ultimately the four of you left on good terms, bummed about the business. But I felt like some kind of reunion was inevitable eventually. I get the sense that Blue Ridge is like testing the waters, and they've been very instrumental in reuniting a lot of bands. Kitty has been on and off anyway for years, doing
Mhm.
certain little popping up and doing a concert and a documentary. Or Shadows. We knew the Shads guys were going to come back someday, just when, and they had done their own concert like a year before. So, I feel like you guys were going to come back sooner or later, not necessarily because like a festival threw a check at you.
It was talked about a lot, and I mean, it's just when you're together that long, when you do like do end the way that we ended, there's always like a weird mixture of feelings. Obviously, there's a certain sadness, and there's still like anger and residual like pain because it's like it's your whole life, and then it's just kind of like not there. So then there's a lot of things that go through your head about what you're going to do next, how you feeling in the moment, maybe a little self-pity, like a little bit. And then obviously there's personal quirks because it's just like you have just a lot of negative feelings that you don't really know what to do with. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, and it takes a while to unpack that kind of shit, especially when it's like it's built up over almost a couple decades. It's when you finally have all that sort of baggage with you, you're like, all right, well, what do I do with all this shit? You know what I mean? After a while and it started getting more talked about, you could feel like, when the personal relationships ease up and there's like text joking and stuff like that. Like, for me, I was pretty much talking to everybody pretty much most of the whole time, so it was like, I knew what was going on between people, but I didn't really feel that way. So I was just kind of like, I'm here, you know what I mean? To talk to if you want to talk, you know what I mean? Like, so I literally talked to everybody throughout the whole situation. And then it was just kind of like little by little things started to cross over because we were getting offers for a while. Like I felt like it was weird too because like after we separated, I was getting like literally just bombarded with like messages on Facebook like, dude, so sorry to hear about your band, but listen, we're looking for a drummer. Like I was like, damn, you're not even gonna let the body get cold, huh? Which was flattering and kind of hurtful at the same time. But that's to say that there was a continuing stream of information, right? Like a lot of offers still coming in, I'm sure, for different people and different things going on, and then to the band itself. And so at some point, you're going to have to at least communicate about it and say, hey, these things are coming in. You know, should we think about it? Should we not think about it? Is this something anybody wants to talk about? And then eventually, if it happens enough, I think the personal feelings of, kind of missing each other as people takes precedence in the situation. And then once you start to accept that and talk to each other, then the rest that makes all the reunion shit happen then happens. But it's like you have to get on this, on a certain page, get back to the brotherhood of it first, which is usually, that's how bands come together. It's like, you can't just put a bunch of dudes together and have a band. I mean, you could try, and sometimes you can if you got enough money. But I'm saying initially, if you're just a band that's getting together that's not assembled, you need to have a certain personal chemistry in order for that situation to work. And even furthermore, in order for it to work well, like make some kind of good music come out of it, you need to have that personal connection amongst the people. Um, Once those issues get resolved, that it's like it makes everything else a lot easier, obviously, and it makes for open discussions. Like people aren't just sitting there with a scowl on their face, like I'm just waiting for him to say the wrong fucking word, so so I can say the wrong fucking word, kind of situation. So, but I mean, I kind of felt at certain point like everybody was talking about it to me individually, and it was funny to me because like Doc would, I'd have a conversation with him, and he'd say something or bring up something that was offered or something like that. And I'm like, okay, and he was doing his own thing. Obviously, he didn't need to do it. He was doing Bad Bull stuff and other stuff in his life, podcasts and shit. And nobody really needed to do it, but they missed it. Like John's off doing managerial things, building robots, got a daughter, a beautiful family. Byron's got a son. good kid, wife, got a good job, doing his own thing. You know what I mean? Nobody really needed to do it, which I think is also what makes it easier to happen when you're not like relying on the band to, to define you as a person or for strictly like as a job. You know what I mean? Like that's your only way of bringing in income, sort of thing. But you don't have those issues going on. It takes a lot of pressure, out of the situation, obviously. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of like you felt like it's going to happen, but you're always unsure because anything really could happen.
Right. And I'm really glad thanks for all that. I'm glad that's the basis, is the friendship and the brotherhood, like you said, that exact word, because like, yeah, if you were obligated or the money was so big, you had to say yes. If there was still some beef, you have to live with it. Like I can't imagine being in a band with people I loathe or something. It would really be sad for me.
I mean, I'm sure it happens a lot more than you realize.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I just felt like that's not a situation I wanted to be in. I don't think any of us did. I don't want to be in a situation where, you're doing this just because you feel like you have to for money or whatever. Obviously, money helps because you need money in order to facilitate things, especially in situations where everybody's scattered around and, whatever. There's a lot of details that have to be taken care of that cost money. So, money is part of it, but obviously the personal relationships is the primary motivator. So
right on. That's great. And I feel like this music was missed. I always feel like I feel like the albums hit. The label was really great at the time. I feel like they did a good enough job, but I feel like, the band, I guess, plateaued and didn't get bigger. Some bands keep getting bigger and bigger, or they stay the same, and that's good enough. But I don't know why, God forbid, it was never a bigger band than they were, but I don't get it. I feel like you guys were every bit as good as all the biggest bands of that time. Maybe Lamb of God is one level up from everybody else, and then you guys are on the same plane to me as all the other groups. So I don't know why, but I'm glad to have, in hindsight, it feels like the band has been missed also. So it's not just you guys. That's awesome. The fans were like, you saw the internet jumped off, right? Kamira just announced like 2 shows, and they haven't done anything in a while. And like the internet was like, ooh, buzzing about them. So like, I feel it was the same thing when God forbid was announced. It was like, oh my, like just the tease of the photo, just the photo went up with nothing, no announcement, nothing, just the photo of the 4 of you. And then the Blue Ridge thing was like the next day. And it was like, on our side, on the journo side, it was like people were like in a tither, bro.
I mean, honestly, I feel like all the bands that were kind of coming up, Lamb of God, Killswitch, Chimera, Shadows Fall, Unearth, like anything could have happened for anybody in the right circumstance. That's the thing about this business. You could be in a great band, you could be in the greatest bands and only go so far. There has to be other factors involved. And it's not necessarily that you're in a band that writes better music or doesn't write better music. Sometimes it's just simply luck. Just that's the one of the biggest factors in this industry in general. You need a little bit of luck on your side, and I feel like we had some, and then we also had a lot of bad luck, which I felt on some level we may have created for ourselves. So that's also a part of it. But I mean, there's a lot of things you can't really put your finger on. They're not like tangible, like, okay, if we'd have done this, then we'd have been this percentage bigger. Or if this would have happened, we'd have been this percentage bigger. Then there's the constant racial debate. If God forbid would have been all white dudes, would the band have been bigger? My answer to that question, yes. No. But
oh Lord, you're trying to kill me over here. Okay.
maybe.
Maybe, man.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. It begs the question. We live in a very divided world, and just again, if you were able to do the Pepsi challenge but with bands,
honestly, it's something like, obviously it's something I thought about. I'm sure we all kind of like at least grazed upon it in our minds, but I mean, it's not something you could ever prove or disprove. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, in the overall picture, doesn't really matter. What happened happened. You can't put shit back in the donkey. So
That's
you
that's
just
great. Yeah.
you just
I,
keep moving.
we did a pretty extensive interview and hang with Derek Green of Sepultura one time, and we asked him a similar question about racism and stuff in metal, and he's like, "Oh, people will talk shit online and then come to our show and be afraid to look me in the eye and come talk to me because I know Derek for a long time. I met
Mm.
him in the before days." When he was in New York City as like a door guy and very scary and imposing, and he's a sweetheart, an absolute gem of a person. But he was like, yeah, no one will come to say shit to my face. I'll fucking stomp them out. But online, this shit, people will talk a lot of shit.
Honestly, I don't feel like, I mean, we crossed some racism here and there that was definitely outright. I'm sure there was a lot of shit that was, you know, obviously behind closed doors, or the people are not saying to our face. I also ran into some racism that was just like, I felt more like the person was stupid and less racist. Like, there's just a really uneducated individual that just is unaware of what they're saying as is racist. You know what I mean? They just that
Yeah, I get it.
far away from what is actually going on.
Detached from reality or culture or anything.
Yeah,
That's not
more
that's
detached from culture, not
yeah,
reality, but definitely
yeah,
from
yeah.
culture. But and I mean, that was years ago. And but we saw some things, and I could mention some stories where that are kind of messed up. But you know, I I never felt like it was a big focal point in all the years that we toured. It's not like it was happening all the time or every day or anything like that. I mean, predominantly, especially I feel like when we were first starting to tour, there wasn't a lot of people of color touring. You know what I mean? Like, definitely not a bunch of black dudes in a band. So it's like, I feel for that factor, like we were one of the few, if not the one, that was like really consistent. Like, I can't think of anybody else that was consistently touring at that time with that fulfills that criteria. But I felt like we were pretty well accepted for the most part. A lot of people showed us a lot of love, and we had a lot of great responses from a lot of people that are really, really positive. And it was like, not race never even came up. Well, like I said, it wasn't. If it did, it wasn't. It didn't come up outwardly.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some people may consider the whitest of people, like Hatebreed. That is a band full of the whitest Jews, Irish, you know what I mean, Polish. But how many tours they take us on? That's the best relationship, one of the best relationships we had in our careers with dudes from Hatebreed. And I know, it's like us being black or whatever, that wasn't a factor. They just liked the band, they liked us as people, and that was that. You know,
Jamie's a good dude. He always was. Yeah.
that dude's a hustler.
He's working right now. You and I are talking, doing an interview. He's doing work wherever he is right now.
He's doing an interview and thinking about merch schemes. He's like, you know what?
He's a multitasking mofo,
No,
and
I can't
he always
hate on
was. I saw.
all those
Yeah,
all those dudes are hustling, man, all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
I saw
They
I saw
all are
Jamie
moving.
like get dropped off at a show by his mom when he was like 17, 18 in New Haven, and he had like the Mickey Mouse voice until he got on the mic, and then he was like, whoa, same voice as now, by the way, just about. Interestingly enough, except for the Constitution like album artwork shirt, unironically, I think the most God forbid shirts I've ever seen was like the Africa God forbid black metal shirt,
Oh,
which
the
is my favorite
Africa
thing.
Graham.
Yes. Yes, that shit was great. And you guys always had a great sense of humor, regardless of whatever came your way. So, maybe it's a Jersey thing. I think it's the gallows humor of New Jersey and New York people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a Jersey thing, but I mean, it's also we're a multicultural band with a lot of different aspects and a lot of different background, a lot of different tastes. Like, even amongst us, we all liked a lot of the same things, but we all liked a lot of different things, which was, both good and bad. That's really that's the biggest story of the band. The mixture of good and bad, the volatility of the band is what I think ultimately made the music what it was supposed to be, and then hurt a lot of other things. But it's like you couldn't really sacrifice one for the other at the time. So you know,
Mm,
it went how it went. You know,
exactly.
I don't feel bad about it.
No, yeah, I mean, I appreciate that about you always. So I know you guys talked a lot about, shared a lot of content and a lot of behind the scenes funny stuff about the first time in the room together. But just take us through for a second. You're stepping up to that drum throne at Blue Ridge, about to play that set. What is going through Corey's mind
I
before
mean,
you sit
to
down
be
and
fair, there's two different zones for me. Okay. And I could make this simply. My before show feeling is the same in absolutely every situation. It could be 5 people, it could be 50,000 people. The preliminary thoughts are always the same. I'm going to be fucking sick. That's the only thought that is on my mind, trying to keep myself from throwing up. That's it. This is why I'm pacing around, trying to like breathe, like don't throw up. That's the only thoughts I have until I actually start playing. Once I start playing, I kind of fall into a completely different zone because at that point my body's gone and I just zone out. I'm thinking about barbecuing and other shit. At that point, I go into my own zone. Then it's like I forget. Sometimes I almost forget. Like there's a lot of times when I'm playing, there's a lot of moments I don't remember. I just zoned out. And my body took over, and I was thinking about a bunch of other shit that didn't have to do with what was going on. Which is usually how it is when I'm playing. And then once we're done, I like snap back in. I'm like, oh. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Before we play, it's before that show, before a DOV show. It's been like that since the first show we played. I always feel like I'm gonna throw up, and I'm just trying to like walk and breathe it off, and that's pretty much where I'm at until 5 or 10 notes in, and then I'm usually good.
that sounds a lot like my experience from playing in bands back in the day as a constant anxious person my whole life. So I put respect on that comment right there. So yeah, Starland, man, has to be Starland and Palladium in Worcester, right? These are two places that have to feel like home. If you were gonna do two East Coast shows, 1, 2, like obviously, right? And but Starland has to be very special for a bunch of guys from East Brunswick, New Jersey.
Well, I mean, it's it's more than just a place. It's the people that have been there so long. It's like, and I was like kind of the last guy in New Jersey after things separated. John was in Pennsylvania, Barnes in Texas, Doc was out in California, and I was the last dude there for a very long time. So literally every time I went to Starland, it was a bunch of dudes rolling up on me like, "Yo, man, what's up? When y'all coming back? When y'all coming back?" And I'd be like this. I don't know, man. Why don't you ask the other dudes? There's this thing called the internet. Start breaking their balls about it. I can't do nothing. What am I gonna do? But really, that's all about just like the amount of people that worked at the place, the staff there, security there, people that friends of ours that go there all the time and stuff like that. Showed us a lot of love, man. So, and it's like we shot our DVD there. That was insane. It was insane. I mean, we did get yelled at a lot because the whole entire place smelled like weed. And they're like, "Corey, God damn it, every time you guys come here, the entire place smells like weed." I was like, "I ain't the only one smoking. What you want me to do?" But they always show us a lot of love there. It's a place we've played a lot too, so it's like you go there, you're instantly comfortable. You know what I mean? You don't have to be like, "How are these monitors going to sound? How the lights going to be?" Or all of that kind of all the worries that sometimes you have before you're playing a venue. It's easy to go there. You know that people are going to be respectful and treated respectfully. You know what I mean? Like all the worries that you would normally have are obviously gone when you're playing a place that's like that, where you're accepted and people really show you that kind of love. So, I'm sure there are mixed feelings about God forbid in New Jersey for various reasons, but mostly it's love.
Dun dun dun. No revelations here. And then Palladium, I don't know if you've been there at all lately. They have redone the whole place in the last couple of years. They did a whole remodel. And so it's supposedly the interior is all new and the stage is new and the sound, the acoustics are the same. They might have painted the ceiling finally. That was gonna like fall in on you.
I
But
mean,
I
I
love the
was
Palladium. I lived in New England for a long time, so I've seen a lot of great, God forbid, and other shows there.
I mean, the last time I was there for the Shadows Fall reunion. That's the
Okay.
last time I
So
was
you've been
there.
in it since it reopened, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. But I mean, literally we played there so many times. I think we played there more than we played New Jersey for a while there. It was like we were there like it felt like every month. We were there once a month because we were touring so much. Literally like every tour would go there, you know. So it was like and Scott Lee liked us, so he was always putting us on. Like I remember we played the first time we played New England Metal Fest, we didn't play at the Palladium. We played at this little bar that was like around the corner. And after that, he put us on the main stage the next year, and that's where we stayed for like forever. And he just took really good care of us. And everybody that, again, it's like another place, like everybody there always treated us really well. Everybody's always respectful and cool. So it's like, there's what could be wrong with that? What
Right?
could be wrong?
If you get treated well and you treat people well, they usually want to come back and work with you again. And Scott Lee is one of those people, and I put a lot of respect on that name. He's a wonderful dude. I know him, and he's amazing, and still to this day, same guy ever as he ever was. So I love that. I love hearing that name.
Yeah, 100%. That dude, like,
There's that,
he's
there's that,
he's so
you're in the
funny.
business a long time. There's definitely people you hear their names in conversation. You're like, whoa, you're like, oh, I don't want to work with that person again. But Scott, it's like every time you think
Oh
about him.
yeah, there are a few, like there are definitely a few names out there where you're kind of like, oh Jesus Christ, that dude's still alive.
Oh yeah, well that too.
But
That's a lot of us actually. I don't know. Um,
well,
and so I know, like for now, nothing else is announced or planned. A lot of, it would be cool. I don't know if it's feasible. Like you said, everybody's got different lives. You have Disciples of Verity, Doc has Bad Wolves, recent albums out, things, making Christmas carols. I don't know what's going on, but like there's, everybody's got different lives. But it
oh,
would be, I liked
oh,
it. I liked it.
okay. I like. Well,
I,
a lot of people were asking me about I'm not in the band. I don't determine what
yeah,
they
right. You're
do.
not his spokesperson either.
No, I'm not. Doc is
Yeah.
perfectly capable of speaking for himself.
I
You know.
like I like Christmas songs, and I like there's also like 10 versions. I don't know why that song is so popular. I guess
Mm,
because it's a popular, so everybody knows that song from things, but like
mm.
there's like 10 cover versions of it out this month. It seems to be the song everybody, anything but that Mariah Carey shit. Like nothing against her, but like I can't take one more song from her.
I
I'm
don't even
happy for
see
her, but
me.
I don't.
I don't even care. Like I'm I'm like Christmas is cool, but I'm just like I'm over it. I'm over all holidays.
I get it.
you know,
It's an
I
excuse
just
to, it's always, every day is barbecue day for you or whiskey day for you.
oh,
So
I'll
it's
tell you
always a
what.
good reason.
Even before that, like I used to work all the holidays when when I had like a normal, like I used to do security. They were like, who wants to work on Christmas, on New Year's? You make double time. I was like, right here. I am down. I don't give a shit about, you know, I mean, it's nice to see family and friends and smile on people's faces and stuff like that and hug it out. There's nothing wrong with that. But you could do that any day if you really wanted to. It's just people
Right.
make more of an effort because they feel like it's the right thing to do
They're
during the
supposed to.
holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I once worked 19 and a half hours after like an all-night bender during a blizzard on New Year's Day. I'm getting a migraine just talking about it. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I also used to like raise my hand and work every holiday. That's just that again,
I
it's that
mean,
East Coast work ethic. We don't know any different. We don't know how to say no.
well, no, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but it's just kind of like, I think, obviously a lot of people make a big deal out of it because I almost feel like you're programmed to, because it's commercials, there's everything that happens during the holiday season's a fucking event. Like everything is not an event. There's just, we're lighting a tree. Yay, gonna see the tree lighting. And I mean, it's cool. But I don't know. I guess I'm also at a certain point, like I feel like certain people are just holiday people. You know what I mean? Like I have an uncle, that motherfucker loves like he's baking cookies and shit 3 weeks before Christmas. This motherfucker's taking all the oven time all day because that's what and you know what? I love cookies, so I support that. But, he's a holiday dude. He loves that shit. He got the
Yeah.
carols on, like legit up in the house,
Holiday sweater, tinsel
9,
everywhere,
9 a.m.,
cats
8
in the tree.
a.m. till 3, 4 in the afternoon, all day long, baking cookies, music playing, fire crackling, the whole nine.
Yeah, see, to me, a few batches of cookies takes an hour or two, and then you have all that oven time should be for ribs. Slow cook the ribs. That's what I would do.
See, I don't ever. You will never catch me putting a rib in the oven ever in your life.
I never had a grill. I'm a city guy. I'm a projects dude. I never had a grill.
Let me tell you something. You can find a way, my friend. Because if there's like whole pages dedicated to dudes that have innovative grill systems. Like this one dude, he was living in I think it was Hoboken, and he had like a picture, and it's him, and he's got like a little metal fire escape. But he's got this like, it's like a little grill, but it's got like the fake pellets in it, and it's got an electric coil in it. And he's like barbecue. And yo, I'm not gonna lie, he had his skills up on that little electric motherfucker. He was like, it's electric, I know, but I gotta get my barbecue in.
Nice work.
I was like, I respect that.
I mean, people got grow operations in their bedroom closet. I guess you can figure it out. So just assuming these two shows go well, which I believe they will, and I'm sure they're going to sell out if they haven't already. You guys are open to more if it's possible, right? That's a foregone conclusion so far, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing those 2 shows. We're doing the boat.
Yes, the Headbangers boat, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be crazy.
Oh man, it already looks crazy. It's sold out in like record time.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got some email from Six Man that was like one of their fastest selling things ever. There's an outside chance we may pop up on it, so maybe I'll see you there. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out travel is coming back and what do I want to go do for the year. Maybe I'll send Omar on the boat. He likes the water. I'm like, eh. But
I gotta say that I am completely petrified.
It could go horribly wrong.
Well, I just feel like I don't mind boats where you can go back as you see fit, but something about the concepts of being trapped on a vessel with thousands of crazy people. And I mean, I'm sure I got a lot of friends going. My friends is crazy too. They're already threatening me with good times that I don't know if I'm prepared for. I don't know if I'm ready to have that much fun.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. It might be too much fun. I'll give some Six Man, and if anyone's going to do cruises, they do it real well. 70 Tons does it real well. So there's a lot of success stories, at least. To pull
I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be. Every detail is going to be awesome. I'm not worried about that.
I saw the teasers for that thing before they announced the full thing, and it was just like Lamb of God's logo and like some of their new album artwork and headbangersboat.com. And I was like, OMG, this is going to be sick. Like you just knew, you could just calculate in your mind. And speaking of Lamb of God, I interviewed Willie recently, and I told him, dude, 2023 Headbangers Ball MTV tour. Let's do it in 2023. And he's like, well, I got to talk to the guys and management. But yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Because that was like you guys, Lamb of God, Shadows Fall, and Killswitch. And that's like the holy trinity of that era to me. And you mentioned Unearth, and there's a few other bands I would throw in there. I'm a dreamer. I'm dreaming big things. I want the best for you. I would love you guys to have unbridled success in this era of the band.
I mean, I appreciate that for sure. I mean, I just think realistically, it's impossible for us to do like a legitimate tour, just because it's like people have too much other things going on in their lives, like that are their actual lives at this point, to where it's like that can't be disturbed to do like a full tour. So if opportunity comes here or there, we're just kind of just take it as it comes. Like either we can do it, we feel like we want to do it, or we won't. And we all kind of made an agreement, like, okay, if somebody feels like they can't do something, then I'm not going to feel like if John says, hey man, this is my family time, I can't do this, or I got to do this, I can't do that. I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna go about my business, and I think everybody's going to do the same. It's not like there's going to be hard feelings or anything like that because we can't do something. So because we all realize where this is where we are in life, and obviously God forbid is a secondary thing for everyone at this stage in the game. So, but I mean, if the right opportunity, just like anything else, the right opportunity comes along and the timing is right, then we'll probably do it. If those things don't occur, then then we won't. So it's like a lot of people ask, like, yo, you guys gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And I really don't have an answer to any of that. I can only say that, it's a lot more maybes is really all I can give you.
I mean,
Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't.
maybe is better than no. And I'll take right now, the way the world is, I'll take a whole lot of maybe over a no. And let's talk about some other shit real quick before I let you get back to your day. Disciples of Verity, you guys are working on a new record. I know you can't talk much about it till we start getting news about it, but I'm super hype. I love that record. I think it was, sadly not heard enough, but it was definitely in my personal list that year. And, I would love to hear more from you guys.
I think this effort is like 1,000 times better. Funnily enough, so after the Worcester show, George, the bassist, and Mark, one of the guitarists, and I are going immediately to Indiana to do the drums with Sahaj at Sweetwater. But I think overall, like the material itself, and definitely vocally, just adjusting more for what Glover can do, it's like 1,000 times better. Like I feel so much more confident about this album than the last one. So, but it's almost done. A little bit more to do, and that should be coming out next year. We haven't decided actually when it's going to come out, but it will be out, and I'm really excited about it. I think that a lot of people are gonna like what's going on in this record.
Badass. I'm looking forward to it. What can't Corey do is the other Corey. What can't he do? That's the question, because that dude, I'd pay to hear him sing the phone book. Like
yeah, I mean, he definitely. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. It's like he definitely by far is the most talented vocalist I've ever played with, which is not to disparage anybody else's ability. It's just to more accredit his ability to, like, he's that good. Like it's not fake. There's no auto tune. There's no this, no that. He sounds exactly the same if you're standing next to him in the room or you listen to it on the record. That's always like, and every once in a while at rehearsal, like he'll hit a bad note and we'll all look confused because it doesn't happen. So every once in a while when it happens, we're all like, did that just happen? Did I hear that? Was that real?
Right.
But yeah, it's another situation where it's as advertised. He's just a really cool dude. Me and him break balls all the time. He's a cat from Brooklyn, you know what I mean? Essentially. And he's just like, he's cool, he's like an open dude, super chill. And on the bonus side, he sounds phenomenal. So it makes my life easier, because when you're playing drums and you got a great vocalist, it allows you to kind of like sit back and be more musical and part of the song, and less just, beating shit to keep up intensity. Like obviously certain music requires certain things, and a lot of metal, it's like when you're playing drums, you are the engine to the system. You're the driving force. So you're constantly beating shit brutally in order to convey that energy to people listening to the music. Where, when you're in a situation like I'm in DOV with Glover, it's like, yeah, there's some heavy stuff and there's a lot of stuff that's just grooving, and but there's a lot more room for melodic ambient nature, because he can just carry whatever he sees fit, honestly. You're like, carry this pre-chorus. He's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Or the producer says, hey, like Sahaj is working with, he's like, hey, do this or do that. And he's more than capable of carrying out anything you pretty much ask of him. So that makes my life easier. You know what I mean? Like I could just sit in the back with George and we can just groove out and get to, really solid zones, so that we can make something really, really tight. That's the internal thing that people feel, when the drummer and the bass player are locked solid and they're just creating like a groove and an atmosphere. I feel is often, a stronger position than just, being able to have that raw brutality. It's just being able to create an atmosphere and then have a dude like Corey bring it home.
Or
So
I don't know a lot of bands that can do both things well, but Disciples can, and I'm very hyped for this next record. Whenever we get news, I'm ready. Just in general, I know when you were back east, you were doing some producing. Is that a thing for you still in Vegas, or you're moving on? You got other ventures you're working on?
I mean, I haven't really had a chance to get into that. I mean, I actually started managing a band, Dissensions, and I'm also partnered in cannabis business. So I got enough stuff on my plate. And it's like when you're producing, it requires a lot of effort. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of music and it's a lot of note taking and it's a lot of diligence. Taking a lot of time. It's like, and I wouldn't want to get into something like that and not be able to put the time into it that you need to. And right now, I feel like, all right, I'm doing enough stuff. I also I'm actually going to start a podcast as well. Start doing a podcast with a friend or two of mine. So that's in the works. So like that was kind of like the point which I said, okay, that's the last thing that I'm going to take on at this point. Like I don't think I could do any more competently. I'm sure there's a lot of other people that do like 100 things
Jamie.
every month. Yeah. I
Jamie.
mean, he also,
Doc.
he knows how to delegate stuff. Like, I mean, I'm learning two different projects, playing in different bands. I play for myself. I'll do some drum programming and stuff like that, or just, whatever. I also like to just, I want to be a well-rounded player. So I'm always playing different styles and doing different things. I'm getting involved in cannabis business. I'm always paying attention to that, seeing what's going on, doing a podcast too, and managing another band. That's enough. That's enough for me.
Right
I
on.
feel like at a certain point, if you take on too much, you're not going to be able to pay enough attention to something somewhere along the lines. And it's not even at this point now, I don't even sleep that much as it is. Like I sleep 4.5 hours daily, maybe 5 as a general habit. So I feel like I got a good balance. I'm not trying to fuck that up,
I dig it. I dig it. How do you like living in Vegas out of curiosity? I never think about Vegas as a place to live, always a place to visit.
Honestly, it's pretty cool, man. It's if I, I'm not going out a lot. Like I go to shows here or there, whatever, and I'll hang out with a couple friends and go to like grab a beer, grab something to eat or whatever. But most of the time, I'm in the house working on one of the many things that I need to work on. So it's kind of like it's a very chill. Like my neighborhood's like a super suburban neighborhood, super quiet. People just do their thing. You know what I mean? And it's pretty sure. And there's so many people out here that I know that I didn't realize were here. Like, there's a lot of people out here from the industry. Um, you know, George Valley that used to work at Century Media and worked, did promo for Animals as Leaders. Did basically blew Body Count up. He was the PR guy for them through pretty much the majority of their career. Um, but he's got his own label now. He's got Seek and Strike, and he's right. I've known him for 20 years. He's right in the area. Obviously, there's all the Butcher Babies people there. Five Fingers here. Corey Taylor lives out here. There's a lot of people that live out here. And I've met other friends that are just out here. I didn't even know we're out here. And then like Brian Slagle's out here all the time. Um, there's just a lot of people out here. There's a lot more people out here than I originally assumed that I just didn't know were out here. And then I went to a couple shows and was like, hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And then I've met a few other people, of course, while I'm here. It's what tends to happen if you stay anywhere long enough. You meet other people who are from there.
The less populated, nicer than LA, Vegas is what I'm hearing.
Kind of, yeah. It's pretty well. I mean, it's crazy too, because if you go, there's something going on here. Ooh, excuse me. Literally every day, 7 days a week. There's activity if you want to find it. Multiple levels of it, of different kinds. If you want to get into some shit, you'll get into some shit. I don't really have that kind of motivation. My motivation is on a bunch of other things. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I can see where if you came out here, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle and end up with your life in the gutter. But fortunately, a lot of those vices I don't have. So I've been good to go. It's been like for me, it's been great. I feel healthier. Like I've cut my drinking down like 95%. So that's a big thing. The weather, you can go outside all the time. Like it's winter here now. People think it's cold because it gets down to 40 at night. I'm outside, taking out my garbage, like t-shirt, shorts, and shit. People are looking at me all crazy, like, oh, like you guys are just soft. You're not used to, you're not used to real weather. But
They have no idea.
dude, out here now, I know it's really shitty out there right now.
I'm
Here, it's
I moved away from the East Coast to get away from winter. I was like, never again, no more 10-foot snow drifts when I lived in New England, and New York City had like a few years where there was like no winter, and then it just hit like a ton of bricks right when I moved
yep.
back. So I'm in the Bay Area, and yeah, this is about as cold as it gets, 49 and windy. Thanks. We're good. I'm super happy about it.
Yeah, it was like 60 today during the day. So it's like the weather, it's like spring in New Jersey. Like early spring in New Jersey is like the winter here,
Yeah, I know
basically.
other places are getting hit pretty bad, but it's the holidays also. So end of the year, we used to expect bad weather. But yeah, man, just happy for you, happy for all your successes. Keep it up. I hope we get more, God forbid. I hope things allow for a few more shows. I know people are clamoring, which is good. You want people wanting you, not sick and tired of you. So it's good. It must be a good feeling. Thanks for being back. Thanks for being so cool. Appreciate you. Keep up all the good work, and we'll have some. Omar will be the shows in the East Coast. I can't make it out, but hopefully I'll get another chance someday.
Oh, maybe you'll make it to the boat, maybe you won't, but
I
who
might.
knows what happens, man. And now you're in the Bay Area, I'm in Vegas, you're not that far away,
Yeah,
so hopefully
next time I come out and I'm not like playing Kiss mini golf, we'll hang out. Regretting my life choices. But
regretting my life
I
choices.
I did get to like take a photo in front of like the door from The Elder, so that was fun. They recreated
Okay.
the Elder door. I like knocked on the door. I was like, only I appreciate this terrible album. Anyway, and Gene Simmons appreciated my $25. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
yeah, bro.
right.
Good to see you. Thanks for everything, and thanks for hanging
Thanks,
with Bros
man.
Cult.
Absolutely, dude, anytime.